No, I don't know that.
Jenkins,
Here.
Harden,
Here.
Pearl,
Here.
McKinley, Hahn.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing that we have on our agenda, or the next thing that we have on our agenda, is public comments, and we have two this evening. And the first would be Mr. Tom Brown. Sir, you have the floor.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, I'm giving you a heads up that I'm going to be requesting the past 5 years of comptroller's reports for the TIF District 1 and TIF District 2. I'm presuming Ms. Shaw is still the Freedom of Information Officer.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Is there anything else, sir?
No, other than I drove through the alley, it looks like a property at 217 South Main is growing up in weeds. Apparently the city can't afford to mow it, much less secure the building on the upstairs.
Thank you for that, sir. Anything else?
Not at this point.
Okay. Very good. The next, Nella's next. Ma'am.
Oh, I just love this. I would like to speak to the alderman about the drainage problem at 500 East Richardson Street. For the past 25 years, I think when I bought that, I had never been on Richardson Street, and here's some pictures after I bought it, and I found out all that flooding was there. And, you know, once you buy it, what can you do? And I never came up here to talk to any mayor, any council at all those years. When I take the paper and read it and I see, well, Maple Street flooded or something else was needed to get done. And so I didn't bring it to the attention of any council members or mayors. And Steve and I have been talking, and we just got the water meter situation figured out with new electronic meters in that. That was a big problem over the 25 years. And now with this, I'm ashamed of those pictures because when I bought it, you know, I thought my sons would update the mobile homes later on in life, which they didn't. And those are still there. But the flooding, when we have some heavy rains, that water goes clear up underneath both mobile homes. The bricks in front of the trailers will float. That you try to go from one to the other. And when we have a lot of rain, some of that landscaping timber did float across the street over to the lady across there. So I wanted some of the council members, I did vote this year because I thought some of them I thought would have some opinions on how to help that situation over there without breaking the bank of Farmer City. When I talked to you and to Larry on the 13th, I came up and there was only one person here, and I didn't recognize him because he sat back there. He went up here. So Larry had mentioned to me, we'll bring in some dirt in there and just, you know, putting along that wall. And Steve and I have talked, and he's 43, and he couldn't be here tonight, he's in the field. But we're kind of afraid to bring dirt in there and dump some dirt in there along that wall that it will wash over more so and just be a mud hole over there. A couple years ago, Shuffler come in and he ran a water, one of those things along the top of the gutter. He put a rain gutter across the slanted building that the city has over there. And he run the rain gutter across and he brought it down and put a little elbow on it. It didn't take it all the way to the street to even catch the drain, to go clear 50 feet over to the east side where the rain basin is that catches it. So my son Steve was in Champaign. He picked up some black circular tubing, and I asked him to go over and put that on that elbow to try to run that water when it rains off that slanted building and comes down, instead of it just pouring more so under our mobile homes. Try to take it to the street and let it just stay down there. We do have a lot of mosquitoes. We have a lot of yellow jackets and stuff in that area. And I have seen, when it gets real crappy like this, I have seen boys 19 years old up there playing it, you know. Not from our little area, but other areas. They come down there and they play it, set it and stuff. So I thought, I'm not sure what the aldermen, what they do, if they comment like tonight on it, or if they just comment privately, you know, to you later on. But I thought maybe I did see some of them, call some of them to ask if they drive by 500 East Richardson Street. And it's been dry for quite some time now. But when it does rain, it worries me because I know the next morning I'm going to be walking in water, and I haven't been able to mow clear up to the front kitchen of the trailer on the west because it's too muddy. You can't walk in it, you can't plant flowers in it or anything. So I wanted to vent tonight to you aldermen and try to see if y'all can come up with some ideas besides bringing some dirt in there, laying it along that brick wall. My son Steve said, Mom, you know, you really need a catch basin, a rain basin on the west side where all that water lays. It needs to be on the west side where it can get all that water coming down that little hill and then coming down the wall. And I said, I know that, Steve, but what's your chance of getting the city to do that? I said, I'd be lucky if they go in there and have Shepard come back and try to adjust that water gutter thing that goes along the building and down with just an elbow on it. And that would need to go 30 feet or so to carry that on a slant down toward the street. And of course, it's going to lay there and stink and everything because it has a hard time getting over to that PVC pipe to go 50 feet under to the rain basin. I'll call it over here. I'm sure some of my terms, y'all may not know what I'm talking about, but I'm describing it the best that I know
Yes, ma'am.
how.
Do the councilman have any questions?
Catch basin is on the east side now of your trailer, is that right?
Yes.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Is that uphill from your trailer too?
It might be.
I'm thinking that uphill from the trailer. Whenever I was there yesterday, it seemed like it was more of uphill from where.
Yeah. And I do try to, as far as the last 25 years that I know of, I think the city did have somebody come down and, I'm going to say, suck out, pump out that rain basin. And then when I talked 2 or 3 years ago to Mr. Hardesty, because he was acting manager or something, I told him about the drainage problem. I went to the shop over there, and he said, Melvin, in a couple of years, we're going to do some drainage work on Richardson Street, and, you know, we'll try to see about getting that fixed. Well, that's been quite some time back. And I am a patient person because for 25 years, and I've only lived on there, really over there for about the last 5 or 6 years. Although my grandchildren and stuff lived over there and different family members, until I've been over there and observed the water meters. That was terrible for 25 years, always filling up with water. And they couldn't be read in the summertime. I mean, if it was raining, the water was full, it was dirty, they couldn't be read for 2 or 3 months. And that caused a larger water bill in 3 months. In the winter, with the snow and everything and ice, they couldn't be read at least 4 times, all in a row in the winter. So that does cost more. But as of the 13th of May, when I was up here, and I had talked to Larry and the mayor on the 3rd in a meeting with them, and on the 7th, the city guys did come out, and they did put those electronic meters in, which I had no idea Garner City had those. So now, there shouldn't be a problem with
Reading the meters.
Reading
Yes,
those.
ma'am.
Although Larry had mentioned that day, do you think that if we moved them, would that help? Well, I'm only a woman. I don't think, no matter where you moved them along that wall, that it would help, and I couldn't afford it.
With the amount of flooding that you have. So.
True, and that
Very
problem, thank God, is solved. Now, the only other problem I have is this one here.
I appreciate you speaking for the council on these matters right here. And of course, this is something that I spoke with Larry. We know what the immediate thing that we could do was fix the meter issue. The drainage issue is going to be a bigger project, as we're seeing. And you're right, you don't need to have all that water there. And we're
Or
gonna
the
have to-
mosquitoes.
Or, well,
the
and all the benefits that come from having all that standing water there. So this is a project that's now on our hearts and in our minds. And I would encourage you, don't ever stop speaking to the council.
I mean, this is
And
my first time, so I gotta blame myself for not coming up here in 20-some years to
Yeah.
address anyone.
One of the problems that we have is every time you have turnover, like with the different city managers,
Yes.
sometimes the thing on their checklist doesn't necessarily go on to the next person's checklist. And I apologize for that, but this is something that's on us. So is there any other issues?
No, just those, but what is the chances of getting Shuffler back down there to try to, Shuffler was the one 3 years ago that put that drain, that water gutter along the building and brought it down. What's the chances of getting him back over there to connect that elbow and take that water along that concrete wall and let it dump down there to the
Larry,
street?
if you could address that, or take care of that,
We will take care
we'll
of it.
take care of that.
Well, thanks a lot. You know, I'm gonna get used to standing and doing this, I guess.
Well, you can run one day.
Since I don't have nothing to do, I'm gonna try to come to all the meetings and listen to what's going on
Thank you, ma'am.
and get more comfortable with everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Steve says, Mom, make it short.
We do appreciate it. No other public comments. We move on to consent agenda, section 1.
Make a motion.
I have a question about the minutes from the last meeting or anything.
We'll need a second before we can discuss.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Okay. At the last meeting, I asked for the work session. I asked for it on the following Saturday.
18.
No, I did not. I asked for it on the 11th. And if it wasn't going to work out then, something was mentioned about the 18th and it was settled on the 25th. That's what it was going to, first one happen.
Mine says the 19th, 8 a.m.
I think it's right. I think it was the first Saturday wouldn't work out, and the second Saturday came up. So,
And then the second Saturday wasn't going to work out either, and I said we're moving to the 25th, and you said the 25th.
correct.
And that's what I put down, I think, put it the 25th.
And your question?
I was making a correction.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any other discussion on the consent agenda? Do we need to make another motion with the correction, or can you just vote on it
As amended.
as amended? Okay. So all those in favor of, I can't call it.
Dickens,
Yes.
Hardin,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl.
Yes.
Motion carries.
With no unfinished business in section 2, we move on to section 3.
I'll make a motion that we accept 2013-14 motor fuel tax program for the 2013 calendar year.
I'll second it.
Discussion. And we do have Phil Matone here this evening that can either answer a question or address the council if you'd like.
Well, I'll throw this out there, and then if you get real technical and need the engineer's version, you can throw it out there. In your packet, you'll see that there were two different projects. The first project is for approximately $59,000. The second project is $193,000. We're asking that we do the second page at 193,000. What that entails is the spray patch that you see has been used here for the last, I don't know, 5-7 years or so. The regular oil and chip program and an asphalt overlay on North Plum like I discussed before. So this 193,000 will cover all of that and leave a pretty good balance in the MFT fund. Phil just told me right before the meeting that according to IDOT, the IDOT is declaring that we have 288,000 in the MFT fund. So you see that this doesn't really milk the account dry. It leaves us with a pretty good balance to start out next year.
So where's this at on North Plum?
North Plum, it will be from Allen Street to the south side intersection of Van Buren. When we had talked with the elevator before, the elevator was going to, Bill had been there a year or two ago, and we had met up there, and the elevator was going to do some concrete work up there on North Plum since their trucks had been turning that out. So we're going to
You're
stay.
going that far.
Yes, we're going to the
What about
south.
the railroad tracks and beyond?
Excuse me?
What about the railroad tracks and beyond?
That is what we had been talking about with the elevator.
So you're gonna clean that up where it's smooth right across it
Yeah,
and make it so a heavy truck can handle it and not tear it up?
correct. Was that right out of your Phil?
You got down from Allen to Jackson, Mark.
That stops short, doesn't it?
We're stopping short, block short. Do we need to revise? Take
Yeah,
it all
that's-
the way to Van Buren.
Yeah. Yes.
And we may have some confusion in thinking that ADM was gonna do something with that last block.
So it stops short of the railroad tracks.
Oh, it's short of the railroad tracks.
Okay.
Either way, we're blocked off.
So Van Buren Street's where the new building was built, where the new scale house was built.
That's Van Buren.
But what about the railroad tracks and beyond? Do we ever do anything about that?
That is what we discussed with the elevator. Elevator had talked about that the home office was going to release some funds to do all that work up there.
And who's gonna do the work? If we go
That'll
through?
be determined when the elevator,
Releases the funds.
right.
And that would be
But that would be with input from our road engineer, of course.
from the railroad tracks to 150.
Any questions to the city manager or to Phil?
So hold on just a second, please.
You say we had miscommunication on that, so we're gonna probably, if we wanna go all the way to Van Buren, we're running about 5 blocks, we're a little over 100, or around 110,000 total, so we're a little about 22,000 block. So we need to increase the estimate by about 22 grand.
Is that a good estimate?
So if we just get a deadline and bring it back next month, or next week, we do that?
Will it be too far out, 2 weeks from now?
No,
Okay.
that's fine.
So we need to, this particular one resolution will
Yeah.
be brought back to us.
All right, yep, bring it back.
Should there be a motion to table that?
Yeah, you can table it. You can also call it and vote it down and bring it back too.
It'll be different, we'll have different information on it.
Go ahead and call it.
Hardin,
No.
McKinley,
No.
Pearl,
No.
Jenkins,
No.
motion fails.
Would entertain to move on to the next item up on the agenda.
Make a motion to accept resolution 2013-15, resolution approving TIF funds, TIF 1 funds for the 100 block of East Green Street improvements.
Second.
Discussion.
This is down here by Minnie's old store.
Yes, 100 block would be in front of the library and post office from Main to James, the 1 block.
And what are you going to do there to take that old sidewalk out and put a new sidewalk in?
The brick walk will come out on the north side. The concrete will come out in front of the original portion of the library. On the south side of the street, that sidewalk will come out. It's broken, it's tilted.
Next to the antique store.
Yes. The curbing is broken down on the ends there at Main Street. Those will be repaired. The pavement will be milled and asphalt overlay will be put on the street.
Is the pavement that bad that has to be overlaid with the asphalt? Is that the concrete?
Yeah, actually it is. It's concrete and it's all broken and tilted to the...
Same street the post office is on in.
Correct.
Yeah, it's
Pat,
bad.
you had something?
Just the 1 block, all that's
Correct. We took this to the TIF committee and got their blessing.
TIF is going to pay, or TIF is recommended 100% from the TIF.
Correct.
Any questions or discussion? Call it.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
motion carries.
Make a motion to accept resolution 2013-16, and we enter into an agreement with the Pharmaceutical Fair Board, and that is in renting the grader.
Yes.
We need a second before discussion.
I'll second.
Second discussion.
I have an issue with this because when they came in here 2 weeks ago and asked about this and everything, they said that David Holtz was going to run that. Well, after I left here that night, I got thinking about that. David Holtz is the Township Road Commissioner, and I went to Rick and I said, why can't the township use their grader to do that? He said, I don't know, somebody told him David they couldn't do that. I'm thinking, why do we need to get involved in that? I really think that up here we need to separate public entity from private entity and not be doing something like this. Nothing against anybody, but it comes down, you start being exposed to a can of worms, you start doing this.
If I can throw out there, I asked the same question about David Holtz because he is the road commissioner, being an elected official. He solely controls his equipment. And David said that he didn't want it to look like there wasn't anybody basically overseeing him. And so that if he went and got his piece of equipment to go up there and do that work, that it, on the surface it may look bad or however you want to put it. But I did ask that very same question.
But it looks bad for us to do the same thing because you're going to have people saying, well, why should I need to do that? And I can sit there and give you examples, personal examples of myself in trying to get something done by the city. And they just refuse me to do it, for me to pay the city to go out and take care of something. And I don't think it's right that we should be doing this.
Other discussion?
One last thing is that we needed some mowing done, so I went to the fair board and it's kind of, they said that they could come up with basically the same thing. They could do some mowing for us, or we could use their equipment, but they kind of want a trade-off here, so.
And I've heard about that too, but I think that's something else that we got a tenant on that ground out there, and he can probably take care of the mowing if we asked him to take care of that.
Comments?
My thoughts on it are, in the past, the city council and the fair board haven't gotten along at all. This is just one way that I want to work with the fair board. My son's not on the fair board anymore, so the last time somebody made a comment, we did something, is because there should have been a conflict of interest because my son was on it, but he's no longer on there now, and I just want to try to get along with the fair board and have some nice things happen out there. They're in a pinch money-wise. If we can help them.
It's a good move today.
Pat?
I don't agree with it too. I think we need to keep getting a better relationship with them. Number one, we're all going to work together. We're all in the same community. We're supposed to start learning to get along. And number two, we'll have to make money using it.
I'm not saying not to get along. I'm just saying you should need to separate private entity from public entity. And we're a public entity, and they're taxpayer money, and we're going up there, and we shouldn't be doing that. I'm not saying we shouldn't get along, but in this case, I don't think we need to be doing that sort of thing. In the past, my God, the city used to go up there and do all kinds of stuff, and city employees were getting paid overtime by the city to go do it. And that wasn't right either. Shouldn't have been doing that in the past. There's been a lot done that you guys really don't know about, and we go back quite a ways. But I'm not against the Fair Board. I'm not against it because of what's happened. Maybe I didn't agree with all of it. I just don't think we need to be doing this sort of thing. If you want to do that, then I want that boring machine. We probably got sitting around someplace down with a light plant. I want to have it down at my building, boring underneath my building, put a water line in. You know, and I'm willing to pay for it. But you know, if they don't want to do that, that's fine. I just accepted it and went on.
Could you speak to the lawyer on this? Is there any issues whatsoever?
No, the big thing was just the insurance in case something happened. Then today, Kurt Holman brought in a copy of an insurance policy, $1 million insurance on equipment. So, you know, from that standpoint, it's covered. You've got a copy of the basic agreement that just touches base on the issues there. So,
Any other discussion? Go ahead and call it.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Hardin,
Yes.
McKinley,
No.
motion carried.
I'd like to bring resolution 2013-17 to the table, an agreement for the use of TIF District 1 grant funds for damage loss. This is 223 South Main Street.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
again, this one around the committee. This is, I believe, right at 50% of the cost of the roof, which is generally what the TIF committee agrees to.
Comes to 5,000, right?
555.
555. Call it.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Hardin,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
motion carried.
That brings us to resolution 2013-18, agreement for the use of TIF District 1 grant funds for Tom Rick at 221 South Main, Farmer City.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
This went around the TIF committee as well. What Tom was wanting to do down there is replace the front windows and have a roof put on. So this is a combination of the 50% of the roof. And what was the percentage on the windows, Sandy?
You said
It was a higher
75.
amount. 70?
75, I believe.
75.
75% of the windows.
Discussion. Any questions? Call it.
Hardin,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
motion carried.
This brings ordinance 919, amending the TIF plan for TIF 1 by extending the date of termination until December 31st, 2014.
Second.
Discussion.
Speaking with our attorneys, because the TIF was set to expire here in June, and so we were talking with our attorneys, and they said that the way that the TIF had been written, that we could get a one-year extension. That one-year extension will allow money to come in for projects that have already been spent for, like Liquid Edge, and we've already had money set aside for them. So that is what this allows us to do. the gentleman who wrote the original TIF agreement is the one that drafted this ordinance.
Any questions?
Who was it, Larry?
Kurt Froelich.
Call it.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
motion carried.
This brings us to ordinance 920. This is an ordinance authorizing a promissory note to Hardin Bank for a 2011 Chevrolet Impala and authorizing the city manager and city clerk to negotiate and execute all necessary documents regarding said agreement, not to exceed $13,293.19.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
How many police cars do we have now? There are
4.
4 new cars?
I mean,
New? New. Did we just buy 2 new cars?
No, we haven't bought, no, the newest car's 2008. There was a used car purchased last budget year.
We did have new stickers put on,
Yes.
yeah, new decals.
Let me give you a little history on this, just so you folks know, is that there's approximately $12,000 put in the budget, and that was set aside, if you, for you to remember, Moore's wasn't in on this part of it. That was 50% of a new car. A new car is right at $24,500. I went back and I told the chief that it didn't look like that was going to really work out well. So he started making phone calls, and he came up with this 2011 Impala. It has never been titled. It only has 3,000 miles on it. It has the remaining factory warranty on it for $13,203.19. So you're literally buying a brand new car at almost half the price of what a 2013 would be right now. So this would just allow me to go to the bank and sign the documents.
Would you be retiring one vehicle?
Yes, there is a trade-in, the 2005 that was purchased with impound fees. That car will be retired. It has a trade-in value of $2,900, I believe.
Questions or discussion? Call it.
Pearl,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
McKinley,
No.
motion is carried.
This moves us on to section 4, other items, city manager and his report.
I only have a couple things. The mayor and I met out the light plant with the president from BHMG. They're the engineers for the light plant. Went over several things as far as the upgrades that have been going out there. And it was highly recommended that there's a breaker out there inside the building. And that breaker is anywhere from 40 to 45 years old and is in dire need of replacement. So we told them to get that taken care of right away. Quite frankly, if that breaker goes out, we're going to be sitting in the dark for a while. Once again, as a follow-up, I spoke with the county highway superintendent about signs on the bridge out here on Salt Creek. He said that it just hasn't made it to this list yet. I told him that now that summer's here, the pedestrian traffic is more out there than what it has been before. If any of you received phone calls, there was a small intended power outage today. There was some tree limbs down on the power line. And so the guys went, they cut the power in the 600 blocks of East Green Market and Water so they could remove the limbs out of the lines. Rick reported to me that he had a couple of transformers containing PCBs, and so he was getting rid of those. Obviously, a company's coming in, it's going to cost about $1,400 to dispose of them properly. And received a phone call late today from Congressman Rodney Davis. He'll be here on July 12th. Mark your calendars. He will actually be here from 1 to 2:30 p.m. That'll be the
What
first
time? 1:30
from 1 to 2:30 p.m. on July 12th. He will be present for a town hall type meeting. After that, he'll just have a representative here on a monthly basis.
What's that date again?
July 12th.
I'll make a I don't know if...
They'll be advertising it.
All right, I'll advertise it in my spots too.
And the last thing is, there was discussion the last time about the directional bore under Salt Creek. And Willard had asked the depth of that. I called the company, and it'll actually be anywhere from 10 to 15 feet underneath the creek bed. And when I called today, they gave us an updated price. We weren't allowed to do it last year because of the water main and everything. It only went up $200, so right now we're at $16,020, well under what was budgeted. So I'm going to be directing them to put us on the list to get that done so we can get water and stuff.
Are we going to go any farther with that water once we've got it there? It's just going to stay at South Park, isn't it? We're not going across the road any place or no plans of doing that?
No, there's no plans to do that.
Do we all realize that South Park is not in the city limits?
Yes.
Plan on having that done this summer.
Yes, they said after I gave them the word, it'd be about 2 weeks out. And then they'll get that done, and then the pressure will be on the city guys to get it hooked up.
And well, you think we can have water working at South Park here this summer?
I'm sure hoping so. If we get it, it'll be there. Now, that water main was put in when South Park was developed. You're going to have all kinds of leaks. So they'll be chasing leaks for a while. Those old yard hydrants have been sitting there all this time. The fire hydrants have been sitting there, so you'll have some issues.
One of the biggest complaints I heard last summer is evidently they have a little leak out there or no water for them.
Right, right. And one last thing is today, IDNR gave us the permit to revamp the soccer field. I reported several months ago that Marty Price had asked about having the soccer field reworked, and that's in floodplain. They gave us a permit today to do that.
Pat, you have something?
On that water main, we already got the hydrants and everything that's already out there. With the stuff that will be going into the lake or the creek, is that going to be connecting it to the others that's already out there?
That's right, yes. Yep.
Any questions to the city manager and his report? Move on to non-agenda items and other business. Mr. McKinley, yes, sir.
Codification books, or code books that we have for ordinances. I talked to Sandy this week about that, and he said they got put by the wayside. Now, I doubt if any before you know anything about this, but 25 years ago or so, we did this. We took all the ordinances that the city had, sent to a codification company, and they coded them and put them in a book. There's a book for every alderman. Now, whatever happened to them, I don't know. But when did you come here? Who was the mayor?
But they've been updated up through 2008.
So did you send it back to the codification company and they send us those
Updated sheets.
updated sheets? Okay. Because that's a tool for us that we should have in our possession. Not only us, but the police department should have it too. And it should be a copy of it in the library so people can go and take a look at it when the library's open. I'd like to see that come back because I want one of those. That's one thing.
Very good.
That's a good idea too.
Whose campers at the sewer plant?
I don't know.
What's it doing there? What's it doing there?
I'll have to find out. I honestly didn't know that there was a camper out there.
There's a pop-up camper out there.
Okay.
One over here on John.
No, it's
No, it's at the sewer
plant.
plant.
Where's it at?
Well, you come into town, it's sitting up there, you drive in the gate, it's up on the left-hand side up there by the fence.
Okay.
Are we still parking the car in over here at the garage?
Car's inside the garage?
No. Are we parking police officers' private car inside the garage over here?
Yes,
Why?
because the city council said that it was okay to do.
One of the issues that we've had is that there was some vandalism being done to the police officer's car, and it was brought to our attention, and we thought to help protect one of our officers' private property, that it was in the best interest that we allow him to park in the car. So that was a year and a half ago, I believe.
Personal vehicles are not allowed to be worked on here, but private cars are allowed. to be parked inside.
When you're mowing, are you mowing on whose time, our time or the,
My time,
okay, take this vacation when you do that?
yes, I am.
Okay.
And since you're asking, the mayor knows when I'm going.
And water and electric meters. How many water meters do we have that's not working right now? Do you know?
I couldn't give you a number, I don't know.
I'd like to know that number.
Okay?
Then are we set up to do remote meters? Do we have the remote meters?
Yes, that's what, and that's what Nelda got, she got a,
Okay, why aren't we pursuing this to put more of them in? That's something I think we should be
We
a
are.
prior thing to take care of and get them in as quickly as
we are
possible.
constantly ordering new meters and updating.
When do you plan to have this done?
It's a couple-year project, cost of new water meters and light meters.
No, but you were on my list just to let you know that I was going to bring up your issue and everything. So just and about the meeting on the union contract for the police. You said last week, I questioned that you and Josh were part of it. You went to the meeting, is that correct? With parameters? And when were the parameters set out? When were they lined out and everything? Open session? Closed session?
Executive session.
Executive
Yes.
session. I have to ask why. Because wouldn't that be something to be in an open session?
You would want to, why?
I question why, because I'm only questioning why right now.
My question would be, why would you bring out in an open session how far we would be willing to go with the police department in certain negotiations? That'd be my only question. Because I hate to say it this way, when would we be revealing our hand?
But I'm not sure that you shouldn't be reviewing your hand. I'm not questioning whether whether you did a legal thing. Then I'm questioning if you went to this meeting, where'd you have a meeting at? Or did it?
FOP?
FOP meetings, when we went and talked with the FOP
Yes,
at the fire station.
at the fire station. And who was at that meeting?
The union rep, the union officer, our lawyer, Andy, Larry, Josh, and myself.
And that would be an open meeting too. See, I look at this as you two as being the majority of quorum, and that can't be a problem, I think.
No, the majority quorum is 3.
It's a quorum of a quorum.
Yeah, it's 3. 2,
Yeah,
you
have a
can't have 2.
five-member board, so you're allowed to do
Yes,
And that's all I have.
very good. Anyone else have any non-agenda items or other business? I have 3 points.
I have one.
Yes, sir.
That ditch that we took care of last year, going towards Hucks,
Yes,
we're gonna need to mow that.
we were gonna do that with the Fair Board's mower, if we
Okay.
can get something worked out, because you gotta have a bat wing for that, Mac, and we don't have the equipment to keep that mower, but yes, that was on the list.
One question real quick. The trail out there at South Park, can we send a mower down that trail? I don't know if I'm the only one who uses it, but the grass is like really high. Just every now and then. I appreciate that. Any other non-agenda, other business before I hit my 3 items I need to talk about real quick? Minor real quick. I have set another open house meeting for September. In light of the congressman coming in July, we may revamp that, and I may try to just be here with him. I'll speak with him a little bit about that. Number 2, I will be speaking at next week's Memorial Day services. I encourage our councilmen to show up as well, support that. And number 3, I begin working with the public to develop a presentation for developers. Home developers will be working with the real estate agents and local lenders and looking for someone to help market that we can develop a PowerPoint presentation so we can reach out to some of the developers in the surrounding areas and sell Farmer City too. So, anyone else have anything else on that? we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Call it.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
McKinley,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Who carries?